Hey, this is Ellis, and I'm going to show you how I tune my snare drum. I've been on tour for the past week with my band Homer Hickam and the Rocket Boys, and I've beat my snare to a pulp. So, I went out to the Memphis drum shop today, and I got me a nice little Remo Memphis drum shop drum head. It's a Remo weather-coated Ambassador. It's what I like to use on my snare drums. And I've already taken off the actual old head. I'm just going to set that over there. And I'm going to show you my technique in tuning and putting on a new head. So I hope you enjoy it. And so what I've already done is I've taken off the head. And what I like to do is I like to get a cloth of some kind or a rag and wipe off the inside, the edge, the bearing edge of the shell. And also I like to wipe off the part of the rim that makes contact with the head, because you can get wood chips in there from your sticks, and so I just like to make sure it's very clean before I put a new drum head on there. And then also I like to do the same thing. I wipe it off to make sure it's real clean. And so, first things first, I like to get the drum head and set it on there and get it where I want it. I like having the strainer towards me, so it's real easy to flip on and off. And then I just put that on there, put this drum hoop on there, and then I put the lugs. Then I tighten the tension rods. I just tighten them to about finger tight, and when I do this, I do the opposite lugs, so I don't go around tensioning every single one in sequential order, because it'll make this part of the drum head tighter and this one will be looser, because it'll have already tightened that, which raises this part of the drum up, and it doesn't tighten it uniformly. So you always want to make sure you tighten lugs across from each other. And right now we're not tightening it fully. We're not tightening it with the drum key. We're just doing it finger tight, and it's barely finger tight. Not even like. Okay. Got all my tension rods tension just barely over, like where they're starting to grab a little bit. And there's a lot of ways to do what I'm about to do, but basically what I'm going to do right now is called setting the drum head. It's the same idea as like a guitar player. When they put new strings on their guitar, they put the strings on there and they tune it to the right pitch, and then they play them for a long time. Some guitar players even stretch their strings a little bit, just because brand new strings have a tendency to come out of tune. And it's kind of the same thing with drum heads. When you put the drum head, a brand new drum head on there, you want to make sure that you set the drum head on the drum and get it to where it will stay in tune. It'll have like a spot that it just stays there, and it'll stay tight and it'll stay in tune. So one way to do that, and this might not be the best way, but it's a way that I need to do it right now because we have a show tonight. Sometimes I've heard of people where they'll set the drum on there and then they'll tighten all of the lugs pretty much as tight as they'll go without just splitting the head, and leave that overnight, and that will set the drum head in there. It cracks the glue. When you tighten it really tight, you hear some cracking noises, and that's a good thing. Don't be scared of that unless you're tightening just super tight. But right now I'm just going to put my palm on the center of the drum and kind of put all my weight into it, and even bounce a little bit. And you heard a little bit of the glue cracking. And so what I'm going to do now is press down on the rims and then tighten it with my fingers. By giving that a little bit of force, it tightens it just a little bit more than I can with just my fingers. And I'm going to go from this lug to this lug, and then to this lug, to this lug, and then this one, to this one to that one, and so on, just alternating lugs. And pushing down on the rim, and then tighten it with my finger. Okay, so I finger tighten all the lugs, and then I press down a little bit, and now, and then I pressed on the rims and tightened it a little bit. And now I'm going to do the exact same thing I did before, just press down in the middle. And again, you heard the glue crack a little bit. And each time you do this, it loosens the drum head tension. So each time you do it, you have to keep going around and tightening it a little bit more. And it's getting pretty tight, so I'm going to have to start going with my drum key in a second. Okay, one more time. Okay, it's looking good. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to tap tune. Okay, so now that I've tensioned it fairly even and I've pressed down and I've cracked the glue a little bit, I'm going to go around and I'm going to tap tune beside every lug about 2 inches away from the lug with the snares off, and that's pretty terrible. And I'm just going to make sure that all of them sound the same, have the same pitch. But right now I can tune it up a little bit because it's really low. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do half a turn for each lug. Just like. And really, this is the part that can't be taught. It really depends on your ear and your knowledge of what kind of sound that you want. But really, the only thing I can say is that try to get all the lugs to sound the same when you tap by them. And you can actually tune it a little bit higher than you actually want the pitch, because in a second we're going to put it back on the ground and press on it again, and that's going to detune it. And you keep doing that over and over a couple of times until it keeps the same pitch to where you press on it, and then then you hit it again and it has the same pitch. That's good. That means that your drum head is stretched and ready to be played on. Alright, I'm ready to put it back on the ground and stretch it out a little bit. So I'm going to do that and listen for the crack sound. Oh, there it goes. Okay. Okay. Now we put it back on here. Now we go around. Tap it again. Okay, and again I'm going to put it on the floor and I'm going to set. It's not really cracking anymore, so I think it may be getting pretty good. Alright, now let's see. See if we got this thing tuned up. Sounds really good to me. It's a little bit high pitched right now, but over a couple of hours it'll actually kind of set in there even more and start to lower the pitch. And I'm going to take my moon gel off of my other drum head and just put it on here because I got a lot of ring. See how that sounds. Okay. A little bit too much for me. Too much dampening. I'm going to let it ring out a little more. I like it. I hope that helps you. We'll see you next time. If you want to catch my band on tour, go to myspace.com/rocketboys. Check out the Memphis Drum Shop. They're cool. And